Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Extraordinary Life Radio, a place where you can kick back for some good old-fashioned girl talk. You know, the kind you would with your best girlfriend. And guess what? Get empowered all at the same time. Hosted by me, Sade Dennis. We'll talk about and hear from extraordinary women just like you about living a bold, courageous, and sometimes crazy life. We'll talk about our business, family, relationships, work life, fashion, and everything in between. Today, we're going to be talking about pursuing our passions. Bill Cosby once said that anyone can dabble, but once you've made that commitment, your blood has that particular thing in it, and it's very hard for people to stop you. Jack Canfield said that one of the things that may get in the way of people being lifelong learners is that they're not in touch with their passion. If you're passionate about what it is you do, then you're going to be looking for everything you can to get better at it. Walter Cronkite said he can't imagine a person becoming a success who doesn't give the game of life everything they've got. And today we have with us a woman who is doing this oh so well, Miss Yvonne Orji. I'm going to be sharing some things as well about how to pursue your passions. So sit back and stay tuned. We'll be right back. Well, hello, family. This is your host, Sade Dennis of Extraordinary Life Radio, literally meaning that we can live a life of excitement, zeal, and most of all, fulfillment. Now, our topic today is pursuing your passion. I mean, we hear this topic so many times, and, you know, what does it mean? It can mean a variety of things, but I'm just going to be sharing some brief things before Yvonne gets on about how to pursue our passion. Number one, what is your passion? What do you love to do? I mean, we all have passions, but as we go through our lives, they become stifled. Successful people all have one thing in common. They have a strong drive to pursue their passion. They have an energy and enthusiasm for life. They keep going and don't become discouraged by setbacks or failures. Listen, your passion could be a hobby. It could be a sport, an activity that you love to do as a child. Pursuing your passion fuels your fire, which motivates and inspires you to go on. Number two, our second thing that we do about our passion is making change happen. Nothing different happens until you change something. What you need to do is to tap into your current or future opportunities and your true potential. You make small changes during the week, and guess what? If you continue to make those small changes, you'll begin to see yourself getting closer to your passion. Now, actually, I think we have our guest with us today, Miss Yvonne Orji.
Hi. Yes.
All right, how you doing?
Hi, how are you?
I'm good.
Can you hear me?
So now, okay, awesome. You know, I'm going to share with the listeners a few things about you, Yvonne.
Okay.
You know, you're just doing so much. Okay, you are an actor, a model, comedian, playwright, and freelance journalist. Y'all, Yvonne she was the 2010 semifinalist for the New York City NBC Stand Up for Diversity competition. She hosts, MCs, and performs for women and teen events and conferences around the country, y'all. She currently hosts a weekly comedy show, Mama, I Made It, in Midtown Manhattan, and has a one-hour stand-up special airing on the African Channel. Above all, she credits her talents and abilities to God and his faithfulness. So, now, after all that, please tell us some more about yourself, Yvonne.
Well, that was a lot. But essentially, I am Nigerian American. I was born in Nigeria. I came here when I was very young. Parents, kids of immigrant parents, they have really high hopes for their kids. They want them to go on to the best schools, to the best professions, and my parents definitely are no exception. They put me in boarding school, me and my brothers, and I'm a prior graduate of the George Washington University. Any GW folks out there, what's going on? I got my master's in public health. And as I was getting my master's, I ended up doing the Miss Nigeria and American pageant. And it was at that moment that, whenever you do a pageant, you realize you need a talent. And I didn't have one. Like, I was not tribal dancing on stage. I don't sing. I couldn't play an instrument. And I remember just sitting there praying, and I was like, God, I just bought this dress. It cost me a lot of money. I'm not trying to lose because I don't have a talent. And loud as day, Holy Spirit said, do comedy. I had never, ever done comedy a day in my life. And I was like, I think you got the wrong one, son. I really said I wanted to win. And he came back to me and said, what else you got? And I said, nothing. And so I started writing. And before I knew it, I had a literal 5-minute set and performed it by the end of the pageant. People were like, do you do birthdays and weddings? I was like, and bar mitzvahs.
Wow.
That was the spark that kind of led, that was 2006. Now we're in 2011, and God has really just skyrocketed that immensely. When I tell you, February of 2011 marks my official start of making a living solely based on entertainment. So it's been an interesting, true story. It's been an interesting ride, and I'm smiling, I'm laughing, I'm doing what I love to do, which, it's hard work, but it doesn't feel like work because you're pursuing your passion, you're profiting from your passion. So it's been good.
Absolutely.
It's been good.
Now, here's the thing I don't understand, Yvonne, because you are so funny. You mean to tell me that you never realized that, you were that funny growing up?
Well, it's funny because the devil will literally send some people to kind of rip you of what you're supposed to do. I had the lowest self-esteem growing up. I was the youngest of 4. I was picked on. All my brothers were popular, but in middle school, I was picked on. I was called ugly. And so I literally just went to books. Books were my escape. So I was the smartest of the kids. I was the smartest. So and all the popular kids would want to look at my test and so I was a people pleaser. So I was like, well, if you want to be my friend, you can look on my English homework. And so I was that kid. So it really wasn't until later in life. And there was something in me that was just like, I know I'm normal. I know I'm really cool if you just give me a chance. And so then by the time I got to high school, I started talking to myself. I really did. I would go into the bathroom, and I would be in the mirror and just create stories. I was my only friend. So I would create stories.
Wow.
And did I know? I'm sure it was always in there, but, and I really had a panic attack when the Holy Spirit told me to do comedy because I was like, that is the one profession you step on stage and you were judged immediately. I just spent my whole life getting judged. I think you got the wrong one. And so it's like, because of my obedience, it's like I'm reaping the reward. But I could have easily, there were times I was like, no, because I'm not getting booed off stage. That's not going to work. I give you so much credit.
I give you so much credit because, oftentimes I'm having to be in front of crowds. And, I've gotten used to it, but I will tell you, I still get butterflies. And so, just seeing you perform, I had the awesome opportunity to see you perform at a show, and I'm telling you, you guys, you just blew us away. And I was like, wow, this girl is awesome. You had us cracking up, and you just, not only did you have us cracking up, but you really commanded the audience, and you really shifted each part of the show to where it had to be.
Thank you. Thank you. It's all by His grace. Now that I'm in it, I'm like, I can't see myself doing anything else. Like, I had a 9 to 5, and I was like, this is not the will of Jesus. And again, I have my master's in public health. I love what I did as a public health professional. I worked in Liberia, Nigeria, you name it. I've been overseas. And eventually, I want to be able to tie the 2 careers, maybe be a WHO Goodwill Ambassador. But right now, I'm like, I love seeing people's faces. light up. I love making people laugh because, I mean, in this economy when there's so much going on, people need some laughter. They need some relief. And I know that if that's my purpose, I'll be the right one. I'll be the right one to make it happen. So.
Wow, absolutely. I mean, I remember so many times growing up, I mean, having like just different things happen. I mean, and I too, of course, relate to the whole Nigerian American experience. I was born here, but of course, you know, my father is Nigerian and so forth, and you know, just with the whole long Nigerian name and so forth. I mean, I can certainly relate. I mean, now I love it. I mean, I've loved it for a long time, but I'm just saying, you know, growing up, especially here in America, with all that comes with being either first or second generation Nigerian, you know, it comes with some challenges. And so now it's interesting because, I mean, I love it and I appreciate it. And so that's one of the things that I appreciated about you and the things that you do because you celebrate your culture.
Yeah, yeah. In my act, I actually use the fact that I'm Nigerian American. So, you know, I talk about my peoples, but in a comical way. You know, I really highlight, you know, the differences because I kind of have that best of both worlds. So I highlight, okay, seeing America but through like a Nigerian's eye, or just seeing Nigerians through an American eye. It's like, why, my people? Why do we do this? Hey, God, look at this. So it's interesting. You know, some people are like, they're like, why are you talking about us? And other people are like, you are so right. My mother does the same thing. So
exactly.
It's been an interesting reception.
Wow. Now, I know you have a lot of things going on right now. I know you have your Rock Your Stance project. Can you tell us a little bit more about what is Rock Your Stance? What does that mean?
Well, yeah. Well, essentially, it actually Rock Your Stance came out about when I was my mentor, Dr. Lindsay Marsh. She's a critical person in my life because I met her when I was a freshman in college. She was just this on fire for God woman who was an anesthesiologist, and then, you know, she was talking about how she was waiting till she got married, and I was like, what? Who does that? And it's just exposure. It just exposed me to like a whole different group of people. And, you know, she showed me that, you know, you can be a Christian and you can still like love God and be fly and just, you know, live on purpose for Him. And so one day she created the I Am Worth the Wait Revolution movement. So I was one of her models and the runway coordinator, and she has a lot of t-shirts that say I'm worth the wait, which pretty much promote abstinence. So I was out doing a show for her, and I remember talking to a group of youth, and I said, you know, because I'm keeping a lot till I get that rock. And so people were like, yeah. And I was like, oh, they like that. They like that, Dr. Ritchie. And so friends of mine were like, you need to get that trademarked, and you need to, you know, put that on the shirt because that's really catchy and it's really clever and it's a really, you know, different way of saying, you know, pretty much the same thing, but like, you know, just do it. So essentially I put it on the shirt, and, you know, as a comment, you know, you'll say things and people are like, oh, that's funny. But like for me, yeah, it's funny, but it's like what I'm living. And so it really catches the attention of, you know, church groups, youth, parents who are like, oh my God, can you please say that? Like my daughter needs to see that somebody young is also living this lifestyle. I'm like, oh, okay. No problem. And so Rock Your Stance is just that, Rock Your Stance. So we have two designs right now. So Keeping It Locked So I Get That Rock, the Kept It Locked for the married woman, and we also have one that says I'm a big deal, which really for me hits home because, like I said, I definitely suffer from low self-esteem. But when I found in the Bible where it says, 1 Chronicles 17:17, for God looks on you as though you're the most exalted of men, it's like, my God, He thinks you're a big deal. Like, who are you to think less of yourself? So Rock Your Stance is just wearing these slogans that are like bold and in your face. Because, you know, who are you to say I'm keeping a lock so you get that rock? Who are you to say I'm a big deal? Well, I say it because that's what He says. And so I rock my stance unashamedly, unabashedly, without compromise, and it is just what it is. And I'm bold enough and bad enough and fly enough to do it. So that's what Rock Your Stance is all about.
Wow. So I hear a little bit of an entrepreneur in there. I mean, I guess it's in your blood, huh?
We are Africans. You know, we will sell bread on the middle of the street. We'll sell water wherever. You have to shock it. No. Entrepreneurship is the African way. Like, we don't know. If you go back home, you know, any house you see that's completed, that means they had enough money to build that house. There's no, you know, loans. It's like we work hard. We do what we have to do. We own this. And so owning and going out there and creating your own business, that's the Nigerian way. You know, that's what I grew up with. And so, it all is kind of working out, and I'm very excited about it. And I'm just so glad that God is, you know, using me make it happen. And I'm willing and available and to be used.
Wow. I mean, so now on a daily basis, for instance, I mean, what are the things that keep you going to pursuing your passion? I mean, what keeps you motivated?
Essentially, my parents. My parents, because when you start living passion, you realize you might have started it for your own maybe selfish ambition. You may have started it, I want to be on TV, or I just want to act, or I. But then as you go on, you're like, this is not about me. This is now it's out of my hands. Like, it is larger than just my vision. Like, 'cause inside of anybody's vision, you have to have other people in it. So my parents, I see my mom working every day. She's 61 years old. She's a nurse. And it's like, God, I don't want her to work another day in her life. If I got to hustle hard to make sure that I can retire that woman for everything she's done for me, we're going to write another script. We're going to, go on another audition and book it. We're going to go and create some more T-shirts. We're going, and then also the people who, recognize, the shirts or the movement, the people who are like, yo, keep doing what you're doing. It's kind of like, now it's out there. I can't be caught out there with some dude in a compromising position, because it's like, Yvonne, but I thought you were like the face of this, rock your stance movement. What happened? So now it's like, it's not even about me. It's not even about my feelings. It's not about what I think is cute or not. It's about, people's lives. People are watching you. So what you going to do? So that's what keeps me going.
Wow. Now, you mentioned auditions and so forth. Now, tell us, what do you have going on? I know you got some big things going on. Please share with us what you're doing.
Yes. Well, a couple things. Well, Monday, November 14th, my television debut pops off. I play actually a Nigerian receptionist in the show Love That Girl on TV1, starring Tatiana Ali. So everyone look out for that. TV1, I think, airs on the East Coast at 8 p.m., So that's one thing I have going on, and I had the great opportunity to be in the writer's room for that. So that was an awesome experience. I'm also part of this group of young women. It's called the First Generation Nigerian Project. And essentially we talk about what it's like growing up first generation in America. And the beauty of that is, although it's like 5 Nigerian women who write and also act their pieces, it translates to so many different cultures. I mean, we've had Asian folks come up to us and say, hey, that's like my dad, just a different accent. India is like, oh, you guys go through that too? So it's really an awesome project, and I encourage people to find out more about it at www.first, Nigerian Project. It's called www.nigerianproject.com. And I'm also in the process of writing my own pilot, and then auditioning. So there's a lot of things in the pot. Hopefully, 2011 is not over yet. So I'm looking forward to bigger things going on in the next 2 months. And then, in the new year, hopefully I'll spend a little bit more time in L.A. doing pilot season, auditioning, and also doing some more writing.
Okay. Well, now how in the world do you find the time to do all that? I mean, you are a busy girl. How do you balance? What are some practical things you can share with us in terms of how to balance your time?
It's so funny. You really do need support. Like, nobody is an island. Nobody does anything by their own. And I'm so fortunate because I do have really great people that have just been like, Yvonne, we believe in you. We just want to assist. And that's the beauty of when you pursue your passion. It can look very overwhelming. But if you just step back and be like, okay, let's formulate a plan. People will attract. Your vision will attract people. So for anybody who's trying to pursue their passion, you may be like, yo, I'm broke. Okay, so where you're at. You know what? Craigslist is your best friend. Craigslist, find some free photographers, find some free, interns. Like right now I have a young lady who's phenomenal, Alyssa Cartwright. She is my intern, and she's a college student, and she, contacted me and said, hey, listen, I'm a graphic designer. I've always wanted to start my own T-shirt company, but, maybe could I work on yours first just so I can know the ins and outs? And bam, she's my intern. And she created our big deal design. And it's like she's getting college credit for that. I have a young lady who's my brand ambassador, Angel Douglas Russell, out in Philadelphia. She's like positioning us, so that we can get on conferences and we can get in the line, in the view of, she's very instrumental. T.D. Jakes' daughter actually features, Sarah Hansen features us in the emotions for the women that were loose magazine, and it's like 17,000 women had access to that, all because, you know, people were out there and kind of working for the vision, and they really take to the vision, and it was just so awesome. So I have help. I definitely have help. It does get busy. It does get busy.
Wow.
And so essentially, I mean, I'm a bat, and so you can send me an email at 2 o'clock in the morning. You probably get a response. You're like, why are you up? Because I don't sleep. You know, it's like I do most work at night, and you know, just the life of a comedian, we're up at night, and then you know we sleep till like 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So
Did you
I'm up.
Yvonne,
I'm a bat. I definitely call myself a bat because at 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm writing something. You know, I'm writing something because it's like the ideas are flowing. Everyone else in the house is sleeping. TVs are off. There's no distractions. And you just have to put the pedal to the plow. You just keep going. But you do need a planner. You need a planner.
Wow.
If you don't have a Google Calendar or something, you need something. Yeah.
Yes. Now, it's interesting because I know that right now you are in New York. Now, can you just touch on how important it is to be in the place where you need to be? I mean, is that moving sometimes? I mean, is it important for people to travel or make that transition? I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, like, you know, you definitely want a pure heart because, you know, whatever you're doing, you need to definitely check your motives. Check your motives because especially for me in this business, a lot of it is relationships, but you don't want those relationships that are just built on what can you do for me and what I can do for you, because that's not organic, and then that's going to run out and you're not a genuine person. You have to be genuine because when you're good, you attract good. So for me, when I got back from Liberia, it was 2009, March, and I sat down and I was like, oh, there's a recession going on in America. Okay, well, you know, my contract had just run out. And you know, I was looking for jobs, and I said, you know, I'm not feeling this anymore. Like I'm not that old, but I'm not that young. And that was the time. And so I took a 1-week scouting trip to New York just to see if I even liked it. And I just went out there by myself. I had friends. I crashed on the couch, and I went to plays. I figured I'm like, okay, where do actors go? How do you get auditions? I was just by myself, but you know, the internet is your best friend. A lot of people are like, I don't know don't worry about what to do. You've got Google, and you better search. So I started searching comedy shows. I was like, okay, when do they do new talent nights? All right, I'm going to go on new talent night. And so for a week I did this. I found out that there was a class that I really wanted to take, and it started in August. I went back to Maryland. I said, all right, Yvonne, it's May 1st. You have 2 months to save up money, figure out how you're going to live, and move come August 1st. And that's exactly what I did. And I found temp agencies. I talked to people. People were like, well, you know, there's some temp agencies. I'm like, well, I don't want to be a starving actress. I've never wanted to be starving. I'm like, there are enough starving children in Africa. I don't want to be one of them in America. And so I did temp agencies because you got to eat. And I had a resume that showed that I have work experience. So you might as well leverage whatever you have, essentially. Leverage what you have. It may not be what you want. You know, you can be like, I don't want a 9 to 5. I want to be an actress. Well, you want to be on the screen? Okay, then leverage what you have and, you know, get a job, get some checks. And so that's what I did. And so literally I moved here August 2009. There were some rough times. I'm not going to front. There were some times where you're like, Jesus, are you sure? Because my bank account is looking not sexy right now. But it's okay. It's okay because he is able. Because what is rent? What is rent? He can get rent in 5 seconds. What is that?
That's right.
But if you don't give yourself any out, you don't give yourself any out, and you just do it.
Wow.
Do it.
Wow.
Nothing worthwhile comes so easy. I mean, God will blow your mind. There's some stuff that's happening now that I'm like, I don't understand how this even happened. And it's not for you to understand. And it can be very easy, but, you know, he has to know that you're about it. Because at the first sign of turmoil, are you going to shrink back? No, because then that's your passion. You don't shrink back from your passion.
That's
you
right.
Go forward.
Absolutely. Wow, Yvonne, thank you so much. You have, inspired me, and I know you have inspired the listeners. I'm very grateful for you coming on. I know you're a busy gal, and I appreciate you coming on.
You.
Absolutely.
Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, absolutely. And guess what? You have to come back. You've got to come back.
I will definitely. I'm glad to come back. This has been an awesome. When you asked me, I was like, yes, we can. And I'm glad we made it happen tonight. But you continue. Even this radio show, I'm sure this is your passion. And you're great at it. So it's like you're doing it, and I love seeing people who are just doing it, breaking the mold. And I think it's really important, Sade, for people like you and myself and other people, so that other people see, there are other professions that we can pursue. There are people doing it, and they're down to earth people that we can ask questions to. Great,
and like no time than like before. I mean, technology makes a lot of this. It makes it easier. I mean, so it takes away the excuses. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
I mean, even like 5 years ago, even 3 years ago, the things that we have now, we didn't have it then. I mean, so it makes it just that much easier.
Yeah, the internet is a great equalizer. When it really irks me when I go to a show or when I go to a meeting and people ask I don't say the dumbest questions, but they are the dumbest questions. So they're asking somebody who has so much knowledge, basic information that they could have found if they just put it in Google. I'm like, that's what you came here to ask? You're going to find that information online. That's not wasting our time.
That is so true. I am glad you said that because I thought it was just me. Because we're always taught there's no dumb question. But I'm like, that was dumb.
It was not even the question was dumb, because if you don't know, if people knew better, they would do better. But just the fact that there's a venue and a medium for you to ask regular basic questions. So when you get in front of people who are esteemed at what they're doing, that's not the time to ask them remedial questions. That's the time to be like, so based on my research and me doing my due diligence, how would you say this helped you or didn't help you? And that's a question that only they can answer. Don't ask them a question that anyone can answer. So,
Wow. Absolutely. Well, I concur. I definitely agree with that. So, everybody, I want to thank you, our listening audience, for joining us. For more information on Extraordinary Life Radio, for show ideas, questions, comments, or guest appearances, log on to my website at www.sadedennis.com. Remember, we're on the air every Wednesday at our new time at 6 p.m. So until the next time, remember to be extraordinary in all you do. I'm your host, Sade Dennis, and thank you for joining us.
And thank you, Sade.
Absolutely.